All right. Welcome to the AXCAST. This is the Sunday, April 23rd, 2023 edition of the AXCAST. My name's Caleb, here with my co hosts, Eric and Luke. Guys, the Grizzlies fell in game three last night to the Lakers on Saturday night. It was only like a 10-point deficit at the end, I think. But really, the big story, there's there's a bunch of headlines really, but the biggest one to me was that first quarter, getting absolutely blitzed, 35-9 in the first quarter. I was contemplating my Grizz fandom, life in general. At that point, my TV remote still does not work because it experienced some blunt force trauma to the ground via my arm. So it was not a fun first quarter. But what do y'all have to say about the first and the rest of the game? I guess.
Yeah, it was quite literally the worst start you could have hoped for. Um, the Lakers were just a step quicker with everything. They had way more energy. They were making shots. They were hustling. They were like engaged on offense, engaged on defense. We looked like we were going through the motions and sleepwalking, and we couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a jump shot. We were just throwing up complete bricks. And I mean, what was it, 35-9 at one point, I believe.
That was the end of the score at the first.
Yeah. Um, what we scored two field goals the entire first quarter, just bad. And I know I can get into some more specific things a little later about the game that I saw, but just coming out completely flat offensively. It's tough to see because you have an opportunity to go to LA and split, and I just don't know what else you need to do to be amped up to play in LA on a Saturday night in a game three. Like I don't know what else you need to be motivated for, and it just looked like the Grizzlies were just. It looked like we were playing the Charlotte Hornets on a Tuesday at 6 p.m. It didn't look like we were playing in a critical game three of a playoffs, and that's just it's just not something you want to see or need to see, and it better not happen again.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna like speculate on the effort level, but it just no one could make a shot that whole first quarter. It was like one of the most frustrating things to watch. Um, and I think, like Eric said, like a lot of those points were like free throws. And what didn't help was Jaren getting like sent to the bench early with foul trouble. And like those first two games kind of made me think he was past that, but now like maybe it's resurfacing. Like I only like basket I can remember was like Aldama made a three and he shot like more than like 4 threes in the first quarter and only one of them went in.
The one that he got fouled on that they didn't call.
Maybe
He gets fouled on so many threes and they never call it.
I think Santi is kind of like a little. He likes to take dives after he shoots threes, like a little bit, like, but yeah. I don't know. Like Austin Reeves had a pretty bad flop also last night. If y'all remember, that made me really mad.
Yeah.
But what like we actually did win the game, quarters 2 through 4.
Yeah.
Just like the awful first quarter was what sunk us.
We won. Here, I'll just give it to y'all real quick.
16.
It was 35-9 first quarter. We won the second quarter 28-18. Lost the third only 35-31, so only -4 there. And the fourth we won 33-23. So you won the fourth and second quarters by 10 points.
Yeah. So like you think if you could have at least done a little bit better in the first quarter or at least like scored more than 9 points in a playoff game, you could have had a much better shot. And I thought they did have it. Like they did enough to kind of give them a chance going into the fourth, like at the end of the fourth. So it's tough. Just like that one quarter was what did us in, and like you can make all the predictions you want, but like, what's he counting?
9.
If you can't make shots, that's you're toast.
9 points.
9 points.
And on two hands, the amount of points the Grizzlies had in the first.
Yeah. So I very much expect they'll be better out the gate tomorrow.
Yeah, clearly, at least to me, what happened was you got a very motivated Lakers team. Very motivated, I'm going to say, because of the comments that Dylan Brooks gave after game 2. You know, calling LeBron James old. Says that he doesn't respect anybody unless they give him 40. Now, maybe LeBron was smart enough to not go out and take 30, 40 attempts to get his 40 points to, you know, get back at Dylan Brooks. But I think the rest of the Lakers team took it personally, to use a Last Dance reference, on LeBron's behalf. They came out way more aggressive than the Grizzlies did, and they proved that they were capable of beating this Grizzlies team, and they embarrassed us. I mean, there's no way around it. An embarrassing performance by the Grizzlies. No one, I mean, we looked like deer in the headlights. Nobody wanted to take a shot in that first quarter.
Except Dylan.
Except Dylan Brooks was more than happy to take some bricks from 3. Was it 0-4? Was he 0-4? was he 0-4 from 3? 0-5?
0-5, I think.
Dude, it was terrible. It was terrible. It was really, really, really frustrating, because you think, I mean, and you know, Jaren, you said Jaren got in foul trouble. Luke, Bane did too.
Yeah.
And Bane took himself out of the game.
Kind of uncharacteristic.
Yeah. So Bane's really just been struggling this series. And I know he kind of picked it up like later in the game, but you'd like to see a little bit more consistency from Bane, especially on the foul regards. But just never been more embarrassed to just be watching a Grizzlies game down 35-9 going into the second quarter. I thought we were really showing our youth. You know, it was one thing to get punched in the mouth, but you got to be able to respond. And we didn't respond until the second quarter. And honestly, not even a couple minutes until like into the second quarter. It took us like even 3 or 4 minutes into that second quarter to really start going again. So, but yeah, what were some other things that stood out to y'all in game 3?
I did not like the lack of adjustments rotation wise with the Grizzlies from Taylor Jenkins. I thought through 2 games, it was more than abundantly clear that Santi Aldama should not and cannot play the amount of minutes he's been playing. And again, he's the first sub off the bench, which is a big mistake. That should be Kennard in every situation. He should be the first one checking in with like 6 to 5 minutes left in the first. We trot Aldama out there, and they just target him. They just go right at him on defense. And then Santi, like, you know, sometimes he'll give you an occasional 3, but he's not been hitting at his rate that he was earlier in the regular season. And then he's just so frail. Like, the amount of long rebounds that, like, he has, like, in his area that he just, like, drops or, like, gets bodied into and just gets bullied. Like, he's just a liability out there. And we have to do something about it. I think whether it's playing smaller with Roddy and Conchar, I think we need way more Kennard. I mean, Kennard is just dying in the corner right now. Just they're clamping him up, and we're just letting it happen. We're not trying to facilitate anything else. And so I was very frustrated. Like, we ran out a lineup that was like Tyus, Santi, Roddy, I think Conchar, and then someone else, maybe Jaren or Tillman. And it was like, what are we doing? Like, That was in the first quarter when we couldn't score. I was like, you cannot have Santi on the court with Roddy. Like, you can't be relying on two brand new young guys on the court in a pivotal game where you're getting your ass kicked. And it's like, so I was a little frustrated with that early on. I think Jenkins needs to just acknowledge that, look, Santi is not ready. He's done some great things for us in the regular season. He's shown some incredible growth, but he's not ready for physical playoff basketball. He's not. He's just not. He's getting bullied. He's getting picked on, and he looks shell-shocked. And
if you're going to do that, you've got to be able to make up for it on the offensive end.
Yeah, and he's not doing that. And so, I want us to play small. I want us to we need Bane and Kennard in the same lineups. And then, we could maybe discourse about Dylan later on about what we need to do with him. But
we will. We will definitely discourse about Dylan.
Yeah. But I just don't see how Taylor Jenkins can see a path for Santi to keep playing. It's just very frustrating. And it's so obvious. He's getting bullied and picked on. So we'll see. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there will be an adjustment made going into game 4.
I'm actually going to go back to disagreeing with you, Eric. I'll say in Jenkins' defense, he's very handcuffed right now by injuries, especially to big men. There's no Clark and there's no Adams. And that's compounded even more when Jaren gets 2 quick fouls and has to go out of the game in the first quarter. So when Jaren does that, who do you want him to send out there?
Play small.
You only got Lofton. I hear the play small argument, but I don't know if that's the way to go, especially with Anthony Davis.
We are already getting murdered on the boards.
Yeah. So I think to ask him to stop playing Aldama completely is completely unreasonable, because at least at the big man position, there's no one else. And even from any position, we're kind of stretched thin. You could say Zaire maybe could get a shot, but other than that, I don't know who else.
Let's throw Lofton in there just to muck things up. We're not
actually don't.
Why not?
He's not going to be able to guard anyone.
Actually, stand corrected. We actually won the rebounding battle again, 50-48.
Oh, well,
I don't know how. It felt like Anthony Davis grabbed every single rebound, but
I felt like we gave up a lot of second chance opportunities also. But maybe that's just I only see what goes against the Grizz. What were we talking about? Yeah, Jenkins has got nobody to play. So if you're gonna say bench Dylan Brooks also, who else is there? You can't do it. He needs players to play, unless you want to play
Ja.
You can't play 5 people 48 minutes. Especially
Ja, Kennard, Bane, Jaren Tillman. That's the lineup.
Say again the lineup.
Ja, Kennard, Bane, Jaren Tillman.
I think that's a good lineup, but that's it's just a lineup.
It's a starter, but what happens when Jaren gets 2 fouls in the first?
Or when they have played for
Then you sub out Jaren and you bring in Roddy to play the 4, and you got Tillman at the 5.
Well, Tillman's been playing too long.
And then when he needs a breather,
we're gonna ask Xavier Tillman to play 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Look, he's been ready.
Well, he set up the challenge last time. I think he did a great job in game 2. He's the reason we're not down 3-0.
The story arc of Eric's fandom towards Xavier Tillman has come full circle.
Hey, I put my hand up after that regular season game.
You did.
And I said I was wrong.
Yeah.
Because he was playing awful. And then he was a man, and he asked to go to the G League so that he can get reps and stay ready. And he did that, and he's been a different player. So props to him.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, Luke. We're just kind of hand-tied, when Jaren gets these stupid foul calls. I do think that this was a bit more of an unfair as far as the officiating in this game. I thought there was like the Kennard foul on LeBron, towards the end. I mean, the game was kind of out of reach at that point, but Luke Kennard is actively ducking away from LeBron James, and they call a foul. Or what was the other one that I wrote down?
I just hated the Reeves foul, or like he falls on the ground and he comes up like holding his jaw.
Yeah.
No one touched his
Oh
jaw.
yeah, and he didn't get touched. Yes.
No.
Oh yeah. And then how about dude, I mean this isn't a foul, but like when Anthony Davis is diving for that loose ball out of bounds, and he just like completely elbows and clocks this camera woman
Yeah.
in the face, just absolutely clobbers her. And ESPN's like, nasty fall from Anthony Davis. I was like, dude, he just like RKO'd this camera lady. What are y'all looking at? She's like, oh man, his lips bleeding. I was like, yeah, because he just like everybody in the front row. But like I thought Anthony Davis got there was like clearly an armbar offensive foul on Tillman that just of course nobody was going to talk about. Was it Ja got completely undercut on his three like late in the game too?
Yeah,
like,
that was another good
like,
one.
Like by the Kawhi Leonard rule, with the Zaza Pachulia foul in the playoffs like years ago, like textbook that was on Ja.
I think the announcers called that one out also.
So, yeah, I thought it was a little bit unfair officiating. I'd have to look at the free throw numbers to really see if they shot more. They shot 27 and we shot 20. So it feels more egregious than that. But yeah, I thought that was pretty bad.
Really bad instances of like I thought one-sided calls.
Situationally, like
yeah, 100%. All right, but we need to get into it. Dylan Brooks, I've already talked about it. He, after game 2, called LeBron James old. Says he doesn't respect anybody until he gives them 40. We clearly got a motivated Lakers team, at least in the first quarter, because of that. And Dylan Brooks comes out of the game trying to defend himself by going 0-4 from 3. And
Eric does it good.
Yeah, Eric's got it spot on. Can you do the face like the? I don't know how you do the Dylan Brooks, bro. Man was actively shooting us out of the game. To be fair, our entire team was, but and then gets ejected in the third. Right, gets ejected in the third for taking the little below the belt swat at LeBron. Flagrant 2. Was a flagrant 1 or flagrant 2?
2.
It was 2. Flagrant 2 and got ejected. Yeah, obviously, so he got ejected. But yeah, honestly, I saw it and I was like, yeah, flagrant 2. Like I don't know. Like if somebody did that to Ja, I would want that to be a flagrant 2. So I don't know. I didn't really see that big of a problem with it. I do think that he should not have been suspended because getting a flagrant 2 and getting ejected. Because it at the end of the day, it kind of was a basketball play. Like he was going after the ball somewhat. I didn't think it was egregious to where he should be suspended for game 4. Well, being a Grizzlies fan, I kind of hoped that he would be suspended for game 4. But what were y'all's thoughts about this latest episode in the Dylan Brooks fiasco?
This has pushed me over the edge on the annual Dylan Brooks cycle of fandom. He is now pushed into trade. Never want him to play another minute on this team. I've gone through my phases. I defended him on this very podcast this year multiple times. But this crossed the line again. And, I mean, we're basically a year removed from him single-handedly losing us a pivotal basketball game. And, I mean, you can't directly correlate this loss to Dylan Brooks, but you really can. The way the first quarter unfolded. He just talks so much for someone that can't score a basketball. He literally cannot put the basketball in the hoop. He has one of the brokest jump shots I've ever seen. And I've seen Shelvin Mack play high-level minutes of basketball for the Memphis Grizzlies. And I think he has a better shooting percentage than Dylan Brooks. And that's saying something. And yes, Dylan is very competitive. He is a guy you want defensively on your team. He does take on the hardest matchups, and he's proven that he can hold his own in most of those matchups most of the time. But when you call out LeBron James and you called him old and you say you wish you got to face him at his peak, you're going to stir up not only LeBron, but the whole team. And then when you come out on the court in game 3 and you have the entire Lakers fan base, every time you have the ball, booing, and then you miss a shot and they boo, and then you get the Lakers running down a full sprint and dunking and then getting hype, and then Dylan thinks, oh gosh, they're booing. I need to get it back. I need to prove to them that I'm this big menace and that I'm a villain and that I'm made for this. And then he goes on the court and chucks up a 3 and bricks. And that happened so many times where the Lakers are literally leaving him wide open. Wide open. It's like shoot around. Like I think he gets more open looks in the games than in shoot around when they have like the assistants like purposely trying to defend him. Like he's getting wide open looks and he cannot make them. And he just keeps shooting them. And then I kind of agree with Caleb. I didn't think the actual like ejection was bad. Like I didn't think that was malicious. I didn't think like, oh, that's Dylan being selfish and like quitting on his teammates. I don't believe that at all. I thought it was a basketball play, but yeah, he hit him in the balls. I get it. It's more of just the whole Dylan Brooks effect, the Dylan Brooks experience, that you have a pivotal game 3 on the road and you are talking like you're Dennis Rodman or you're talking like you're Kawhi Leonard, and you go into crypto.com arena and you're building mega mansions with the amount of bricks that you are supplying to the table. Like he's the world's leading supplier of bricks. And it's just, I've never seen someone miss more wide open shots than Dylan Brooks. Like I haven't. And it's just very frustrating.
I actually am going to defend Dylan to an extent.
Oh my gosh. Give me a break.
First of all, like,
Why?
First of all, what I'll say is I think the idea that Dylan Brooks is giving the Lakers the motivation they need to beat us is like ridiculous. Like it's the NBA playoffs. Like if you don't win these games, you're eliminated. You don't need more motivation than that. Like the motivation's already there. Like
Yeah,
there's nothing that Dylan can say that can motivate you more than you already should be to win an NBA playoff game.
Dude, but when you're smack talking and you're calling out a team, yeah, like you're already motivated, but it takes it to a next level. Like it becomes personal and it becomes them like wanting to just shut him up so bad and just prove that he's a nobody. And they did just that. Like
it'd be another thing if it was Ja talking trash, like somebody actually good at scoring the basketball. Yeah. But it's Dylan Brooks who can't score. So you're like, this bum is telling us that we're old. They're telling us that our best player's old.
I see what you're saying, but I still think like you don't need any like extrinsic motivation in addition to like just winning the NBA finals. Nothing Dylan Brooks says should increase their motivation to beat us. Like, and people blaming him for that, I think they're like misguided. So having said that, I don't remember who said it, so I can't give credit, but one NBA analyst said something really like interesting once that I heard, and it was sometimes it makes it easier for lots of like the star players to succeed if like one particular guy like takes all the pressure and puts it on himself. And so I think that's what Dylan Brooks is doing by talking like this. He's taking all the national attention, putting it on himself, so he has all the pressure and it's on him. So I think that makes it easier for Ja, Jaren, and Dez to go out and compete because no one is expecting them to like, why are you laughing?
That is just the most insane spin zone to spin this as Dylan Brooks is actually the selfless person.
Luke,
in this
did we watch the same first quarter? If you're,
I'm not going to defend his shooting numbers.
Your spin zone is right, he's taking all the pressure off himself and he's giving it to the rest of the team so that they can perform.
So he's putting it on himself.
Yeah. What did Ja do in the first quarter? What did Jaren do? What did Dez do? They were all checked
They
out.
got fouled. I'm not saying it worked. They lost. But I'm saying what Dylan, like, I think he's trying to do is to take all the extra nonsense onto himself. So the other members of the Grizzlies could have, like, maybe an easier time, less pressure going into these games. Like, it hasn't worked, but that's what I think. And I still think, like, yeah, a lot of times, here's the other side of the coin where I'm not going to defend him. Like, some of these shots that he takes, we really should value these possessions more than we seem that we do.
Yeah.
And another thing, kind of we had some momentum going into halftime, I thought.
We did.
And then coming out, first couple minutes, Dylan Brooks gets a flagrant 2 and is ejected. It's like, where'd all of it go? I will say also, I think we're in agreement that I thought it was a basketball play. He was going for the ball and LeBron changed directions. And it was unfortunate. I think he should have been ejected because can't really do that. But I don't think he was trying to do it at all. So
I didn't think it was malicious.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's not the same as Draymond Green stomping on Domantas Sabonis's chest. It's not the same. And yeah, it's not the same as Joel Embiid kicking Nick Claxton when Nick Claxton is stepping over him. Those two examples were malicious intent. And I think it's just kind of a basketball play. So, yeah, I think we're all in agreement there.
I think,
no, what were you going to say? I was going to
just one last thing.
Yeah,
he's kind of what I think is going to happen is he's lowering his free agent value. So Kleiman's going to be able to extend him for cheap. And then we can keep him on the team.
No.
He's I think he's important because if he's
done.
No.
He's done.
I don't see how a general manager could look and respect their job and look at the past 2 postseasons from Dylan.
No, some days Dylan's the only one who brings it, and Dylan's going to bring it every night. That much is very consistent.
Dylan's like a chef that doesn't know how to cook.
Look,
he doesn't.
Luke, I was saying the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I was saying the same exact thing a year ago when I was still a Dylan Brooks defender, and I've had it.
You were the first Dylan Brooks defender.
I know. I owned all of the Dylan stock. I owned all of the Dylan Brooks stock, and he has betrayed me. He has stabbed me in the heart, and he's twisted the knife over and over again. I can't defend him anymore. I'm done defending Dylan Brooks.
You keep trying to kill him, and he keeps coming back. You're not going to get rid of him.
No, he's going to creep back into your hearts once he has a good game.
No, I don't care.
He will.
I don't care. He can drop 45 and have a LeBron poster, and I won't even react. I'll be like, okay.
That's dumb. I'll take the Dylan Brooks stock at a low.
No, I don't care.
Then it's going to go.
This man has betrayed me.
Luke, when's the last Dylan Brooks shot that's been put up that you've been like, okay, I think this is going in?
Was it the dagger that he hit?
Because when it's Kennard, I'm like, yes, this is going in. When it's Bane, I'm like, okay, it's probably going in. When it's
first quarter yesterday, I thought no one was going to go in.
But we'll transition to this, bro. When it's Tyus, I never think it's going in.
Yeah, that was another shot that I had. Dude, it was crazy how earlier in the season we're talking Tyus is one of our best 3-point shooters.
No,
he's just having a rough series. I have complete faith in Tyus still.
I do too.
I mean,
I've seen it. He's still I
love Tyus, bro. 0 of 7 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3.
Yeah, Tyus's efficiency and impact on our team shouldn't be defined by his 3-point efficiency, but he has shown that he's been able to do that for long stretches. He's just in a very bad slump, and we need him to make shots. Similar to Bane, who's been slumping, we need him to make shots. So I'm not worried about him, but it just has been uncharacteristic and just had a bad time for it to happen. We need to figure it out.
Yeah, worst time possible.
In a time when we really could have used it in that in that first quarter. It felt like Tyus. I mean, if you want to talk about Dylan missing shots, I feel like Tyus was right up there too. When he smoked a wide open layup.
Yeah, that was bad.
I was like,
nobody was making shots yesterday though, except for Morant.
yes. Which we already said we need. Kennard needs more attempts for sure. The other thing that I pointed out was we got our huge Anthony Davis game, right? We knew it was coming. Anthony Davis drops, what was it, 31 and 17. So yeah, we got that big AD game. You guys think that this is a one-time thing, or is this something we can expect from Anthony Davis for the rest of the series?
I mean, it's going to happen at least one more time. I mean, depends on how long you think this series is going, which I think we need to each give a outlook of where we stand on the series, because I'm not feeling too hot right now, personally. So, I mean, if this series goes to 7, I think Anthony Davis has 2 more games where he scores 30 points. He'll probably have another dud thrown in there, but I think if the Lakers win Game 4, then I bet we'd go back to FedEx Forum and win big, and Anthony Davis has a dud game, and then he'd probably have another big game, Game 6, to try to close us out. But yeah, it's Anthony Davis. I mean, he is very good. We all knew it was coming, but we just hope that it's not an every night thing.
I don't think he's got any more in him. He's toast. He's done.
Oh man, gotta love Luke. Yeah, well, Eric, I think that's a good idea. Let's. Where do we think this series is moving? What do we think the end result is going to be?
I'm gonna say Grizzlies in 6.
Oh my gosh!
Whoever wins tomorrow wins the series.
Yeah.
Really?
I think even if we lose tomorrow, then we're going back home for Game 5, and we can win Game 5 because that's at home. There's no pressure. It's like Golden State Game 5 last year.
Yeah, we'd win Game 5 in that scenario, but then we have to go back to Game 6.
Yeah.
No, listen. Once they win Game 4, if they win they won't. If they in the scenario they do, they have they're okay, we got 3-1 lead. We're gonna win for sure. That's what they're thinking in the Lakers' minds. Then we go back home and win Game 5. Suddenly, a lot of pressure on the Lakers. Now they really got to win Game 6, because if they don't, then they got to go back to FedEx Forum for Game 6. By the time we go back to FedEx Forum, we're totally going to win.
Luke, are you confident enough to give a mortal lock to the Grizzlies winning Game 4?
What? Say again?
Are you comfortable enough and confident enough in giving the Grizzlies a mortal lock to win Game 4?
What does that mean?
Is it an absolute lock of the century?
Bet your life. Bet your life, Luke.
Jeez Louise. Well, I'm not going to bet my life.
Wow, coward.
I'm just not a betting man, but I'm very confident in the Grizzlies winning in 6 games.
I think I said it after Game 1. I think I said Lakers in 6, and I think I'm sticking with that. I think we could get. I think Eric, you're right. Whoever wins tomorrow has a really good shot at winning the rest of the series. Because in that scenario, if the Lakers win, they're up 3-1, and we all know the numbers about teams up 3-1. And then in the other scenario, the Grizzlies win, we tied up 2-2. Now it's going back home, first to 2 games wins, and we got home court advantage. So I like that, Eric. Something that is somewhat encouraging to me. Yes, we got absolutely blitzed, embarrassed, all the adjectives. I don't have that good a vocabulary, whatever, for the first quarter. We got murdered in that first quarter, but the rest of the way, we bounced back and we looked like we had some life to us. I guess I'm just somewhat optimistic that we can play like those final 3 quarters and just play a complete game tomorrow in game 4. But we'll see. I think I am liking the Lakers in 6 prediction, unfortunately.
I'm usually optimistic. On paper, like I still think the Grizzlies should have a good chance at winning game 4 and winning the series. But the way Desmond Bane's playing right now, the way Tyus Jones is playing right now, the lack of Luke Kennard playing, I just can't like pick the Grizzlies to win the series. Like I haven't seen what I haven't seen anything that is telling me that the Grizzlies are going to win the series, that they're the better team. Like on paper, I know we're the better team with our guys when we're playing our best. Like for sure, I think we're the better team, but like we're just not playing like it. Like it was great to see that Ja was himself last night, and hopefully he can continue that. But if Desmond Bane's going to keep shooting the way he's shooting, and if Tyus Jones is going to still struggle, and we're not going to make any more rotation adjustments, I just have a hard time seeing us win the series. So I think right now, I think tomorrow night's going to be a battle. I think it's going to be a close game, may go to overtime, but I think the Lakers win, and then I think we go back home and boat race them, and then I think it's going to be game 6 in LA, and I think the Lakers win. But hopefully I'm wrong. I'm usually optimistic, but just through 3 games, like I just haven't seen anything that has proven to me that, hey, the Grizzlies are the better team and they're gonna win this series. On paper, that's a different story. Like roster down, I still think we have the better players, front to top to bottom, but we're just not playing like it.
I think you could say the other side is like first 3 games, many of our core players have had a rough time. And like by law of averages, like how long is that going to keep going? The Lakers have kind of been lucky to not see us at our full strength. So
yeah, I mean, that's true, but like we can't just project that, yeah, it's going to happen. Like until I see Desmond Bain go 6 for 10 from 3, or Tyus Jones get like a double-double, or like putting up more points, or seeing Luke Kennard actually get attempts, and seeing Santi Aldama either not playing or holding his own and not embarrassing himself, like, and not seeing Dylan Brooks be an absolute bozo. Like, I love this team. I've watched this team all year. I have trust in this team. It sucks with the injuries, but I still think we're a very competent team with the roster we have on the court right now. But the way we've been playing, I just don't see it. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we flip a switch. I hope we figure something out or start to hit shots. But right now, I just don't see it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with Eric. I think it's more likely that the Lakers can replicate their performance at their peak. I think that's more likely than the Grizzlies replicating their best performance at their peak at this point. Maybe Rui Hachimura is just a great basketball player. Maybe Austin Reeves is just a great basketball player. Maybe D'Angelo Russell can actually like hit a stride like he has, like he did.
Rui's done it 3 times now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you can't keep doing that. No way.
you said that after game 2.
Every single time. You said this every single time.
There's no way you can do it a 4th time.
Look,
you tripling down?
I'm tripling down.
I was contemplating this question, and I think Steven Adams is more important for this team right now than I'm trying to think of the highest, most important player that I could name for the Grizzlies. And I think the only 2 people that I could say Steven Adams is not more important than is Ja and Jaren. I think besides that, you need Steven Adams.
Yeah,
in this
I think Tyus and Bane, recency bias, you should probably put them over him too.
Well,
Well, when Bane's not
regardless,
playing, we look horrific. Like when he's not playing good, we look terrible. We don't have any flow on offense. The ball is just stagnant. You get Dylan Brooks step back threes. So I do see that. I mean, when Tyus isn't playing well either, it's just a noticeable disruption to the flow of our offense. So I do see that argument because those two guys do like ball dominant. They get the ball moving. They get off the dribble, and so like you need those guys. But I mean, John and Jaren are like the obvious, like very important.
Yeah.
But
and I think the last thing that we really have to talk about Game 3 is just a moment of silence to anybody out there that actively uttered the words, "The Grizzlies are better without Ja Morant." All right, thank you. Yeah, man, like if you actually believe that the Memphis Grizzlies are better without their superstar, I've really just lost so much respect for your basketball knowledge, because to actually say that a team is better without their superstar because they've had success without him, to hate a team, to have so much hatred in your heart that you have to project that towards a smaller market and take away anything from the coaching staff, being able to get the most out of the next man up mentality and the rest of their roster, to be able to not talk about the coaching staff and lifting up the other players that have stepped up, but instead put down your superstar. It's just, that's crazy to me. So it's really, really annoyed me. And I'm so glad that Ja Morant dropped 45 in his return, 22 straight in the fourth quarter, and put a silence to all this nonsense about all these people saying that the Grizzlies are better without Ja.
I think you did a really good job describing that, Caleb. It's like whenever someone says that, it's like you can tell these people have not watched any of these games.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's been the dumbest narrative I think that's ever been produced about surrounding this team. It's people that don't watch the games, and I don't know. Everyone hates Ja Morant right now, and it's so annoying how like everyone just dogs on him and makes these stupid narratives, and it's the worst. So I'm glad that Ja is just able to shut them up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And gave an all-time performance. And unfortunate that it's in a losing effort, but man, that fourth quarter, that was something else. I didn't even really realize it until he had like 12 or 14 straight, and then he just kept going. And it was I was really hoping that he'd make that three, because then he would tie that LeBron record, right, in the playoffs when LeBron scored 25 straight against the Pistons all those years ago. So I thought that would have been cool. I really wanted him to hit that three. But yeah, an all-time performance from 12. And now all of a sudden nobody's talking about how the Grizzlies are better without Ja. It blows my mind how the national media talks about this. But yeah. Do y'all have anything else y'all wanted to say about Game 3?
No.
We could go to Game 4 preview, I guess.
Yeah. So Game 4, tomorrow night. We're recording this Sunday night, so Game 4 Monday night, tomorrow night at another late one. I think it's 9 p.m. for me and 10 p.m. for y'all. It'll be a late one again. How can the Grizzlies adjust? How are we feeling regarding the game? We kind of already talked about that, but what are the recipes for the Grizzlies to be able to have success in Game 4?
I just think we're gonna have to shake something up. I don't think we can continue to try to play this way against them. I get what Luke's saying about, yes, we do have constraints and limitations due to injury, which is obvious. But you can't let some of these rotations just continue. I don't know what schematically we could try to do. I've heard the Zaire Williams experiments try to throw him out there because of his length and versatility. I don't know if I agree with that. I'd rather just try to play small with Kennard and Bain on the court at the same time and rock with that. But I'd be willing to see it. I'd be willing to try Zaire just for length, throw him on Hachimura and stop that crap because, I mean, Hachimura has been unbelievable. Like, that dude's going to get paid. Like, he's unreal. And then, I mean, I don't think we've been guarding LeBron bad or anything. AD, we've held him in check for the most part. Other than last night, I thought we just let him be a force, and we weren't as attentive or like locked in on help defense and rotating over and getting a body on him and beating him to the spot before he can draw a foul. So we got to just lock in better there and really make it a team effort on AD. But I just think we have to figure something out. I think it's a one player series. Like, it's a one player, like, flip of a switch, just like how out of nowhere, game 2, Xavier Tillman appears. And we integrate him in playing more and make him a focus. And guess what we do? We win. Game 3, we don't do anything different, really. We just lace them up again, and we just get absolutely boat raced in the first quarter and then have to try to play catch up from there and make adjustments. So I hope we can go into the game with a different adjustment or a different look that gives us an advantage and make the Lakers have to actually adjust and make changes to what we're doing. Because right now it just feels like we're on our heels trying to play catch up, and we can't afford to do that. We have to be the aggressor, and we have to find – like, it does suck, the injuries. Like, we're at a clear disadvantage down low, and there's not a great solution for it. But we have to try something different. We have to, in my opinion. Luke Kennard needs to shoot the shot. The best shooter on your team needs to be shooting more than 1 3-point field goal attempt in a critical game. He needs at least 5 attempts. I've been saying 10. The games where he shoots 5, I say he needs 10. So now he's regressing down to 1. So I'll take 7. But, man, he needs to get open and get shots and cut the Aldama minutes or figure that out a different way. But I don't know. Something needs to change.
Yeah.
I might disagree with you again, Eric. Like, to me, the problem, at least in the first quarter, was like just missing shots, and you could question potentially like they could have had a little bit more effort and like hustle and like fouls problems, stuff like that. So like those things are like, besides hustle, it's like you could argue have an extent of randomness, and I think the Grizz were a little bit like unfortunate that like they got a couple fouls called on Jaren and Desmond early. They got like just horrendous shooting. Like, I don't think you can expect like the worst NBA team to shoot that poorly, like consistently against like the best defense. So I think if they come out of the gates faster tomorrow, which I know they will, I'm much more optimistic about that outcome. I don't want them to like make a bunch of adjustments for the sake of making adjustments. If like there's no, I'm not the coach, so I'm not in charge. But like unless Taylor Jenkins has like see something specific that he needs, like thinks will change.
I've seen something specific.
You're just talking about guys you don't want to play. you just don't like guys. Like,
I like Santi, just not in this
Apparently
moment.
not.
Yeah, no, you don't.
Dude, I was writing when there were rumors in training camp before the season started about Santi Aldama being like a breakout watch. I was all for it. I bought
we
more.
were all skeptical about that, and then we were.
I bought more Santi stock than anyone. I backed him. I was called crazy at times. I wasn't like a ride or die. Like I wasn't like crazy for him, but I was backing him, and I'd still back him. I like him, and I think he's going to be unbelievable one day. I think he's going to continue to grow, and as he grows into his body and gets stronger and more physical, he just doesn't have the frame. He's just getting bullied and picked on, and his offense isn't in a spot in a playoff environment to make up for those defensive liabilities. So it's like I just don't get why you throw him out there other than just because he's a body. Like, I'd rather play Rod. Throw Roddy out there at the 4, Tillman at the 5, if Jaron's not on the court, and then Kennard Bain, Tyus, Kennard Bain, Ja. Like, come on.
I guess so. I do like Roddy a lot. The only thing I can think of that, like, I'm going to defend Santi in a minute. The only thing that I can think of that I would maybe like to see is, like, they could tell Dylan to try to attack the paint before he starts shooting threes. Like, I think that would be maybe good, but I don't know if he's ready for that conversation.
He's pretty good when he does that. He just doesn't do it enough.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Downhill Dylan.
Yes.
Dylan.
Hey, he's good. So he just needs the attack mindset. I think, like, for Santi, it's like a confidence thing because, like, Brevin Knight has said it all season. Like, the talent was always there. He just needed the confidence. And this season, the reason he broke out was like a mindset thing. So I think he has only played 3 playoff games, and I think it's going to get better. And once it clicks, it's going to click. And we just got to give him a little more time.
Yeah. I don't hate the Zaire idea, Eric. Just because I love Zaire. It's been unfortunate to see his decline this season a little bit, but I don't hate the idea of putting him on Rui Hachimura. I'll throw out another crazy idea. How would y'all feel about us throwing in Kenny to see if he could box out, have a big body down low, help us out?
Look, I'd be for it. Like, yes, he'd be a defensive liability, but like, what else do we have at this point? Like, at least he'll be a presence and try to bully people around in the paint. Like, yes, he might get – they might try to pick on him, and they might get a couple, like, twos. They might get a couple, like, putbacks over him, but at least he'll be a big force down there. He's a unit. He'll be down there and bruise a couple people up and shove a couple elbows and get a couple boards and play some Zebo ball down there.
For a team whose identity is points in the paint, we have not been able to really thrive in that. We have not been able to make that our identity this series. And I think maybe, call me crazy, Kenny Lofton can maybe help out with that a little bit. Something is also clear. Conchar has been a corrected adjustment, I think, defensively and for rebounding, not shooting, which his attempts have, he's not taken a bunch. So I think that's fine. But I think Conchar is good. And then also something to kind of keep your eye on is the Lakers are losing the LeBron minutes. He's had a negative plus minus, I'm pretty sure, every game. And I don't look into plus minus all the time. I don't really like plus minus as a stat that much, but they're losing the LeBron minutes. And another thing, as now we've had so much time off in between games. What was it? 3 games off in between 1 and 2, 3 games off between 3 days off between 2 and 3. Now we're only going to have a 2-day break between 3 and 4, and then a 2-day break in between 4 and 5. And that's a travel, that's a travel day in there as well. And I think that could come into play. Look, to reiterate in the words of Dylan Brooks, LeBron James is old, and he likes to get his beauty sleep. He likes to get rested and get acclimated to wherever he's traveling. And I think that can maybe affect him and maybe even this Lakers team. And it wouldn't affect a young Grizzlies team, just younger legs. So as the series now shifts into shorter days rest in between games, I think that could play a little bit of an impact in the favor of the Grizzlies. So
I think that's a good point, Caleb. I think like the NBA tried their best to give them like 2 days off between games, like
100%.
in each game. So
There
like
were already game fours that had been played before we played our game 3.
Yeah, exactly. So like a little suspicious if you ask me.
Which has actually turned out to be good for us because we got the rest for Ja to where he only had to miss 1 game.
I guess so. Yeah.
And now that he's back, maybe we can take this shorter day's rest in between games towards our advantage. But yeah, I'm not feeling too great about game 4. I don't know if I gave my official prediction. I think it'll be a lot more competitive. I think it'll be a lot closer. I think we'll get boat raced in the first quarter again. I think it'll be a great game. I think it'll be competitive all game long, but it's just going to come down to, can we not lose the first quarter 35-9, and can we get some better shooting numbers from Bane, Kennard, and Tyus?
We got to come out and throw a punch. Like that's the only thing that like I think can save this series for us. Like we've been taking punches, we've been on defense like trying to duck and dodge their punches, and they've been the aggressors. We got to flip the script, like flip the switch and try to punch them. We need to try to come out and get on a big run and get some energy and fire that they've been putting on us. Like Bane's got to start hitting threes. If he hits a couple threes early and Ja's getting going downhill and we go on a couple runs and, quiet the crowd a little bit and get some momentum, like it's about hitting shots. If we can hit some shots, that's when we get our confidence and our swagger and we get going. But when we go shoot like 2 for 20 to start the game like we did, and the Lakers are in transition dunking on everyone and making their shots, like we have no chance. So like we need to come out and be the aggressor and punch them in the face for once. And I agree, Caleb. I think it's going to be a close game. I hope we win. I think it's possible we win, but I just haven't seen enough to back that up. So I'm going to pick the Lakers here in game 4, but I think it's going to be a very entertaining game.
Yeah.
Y'all do not believe Memphis.
Bro, I'm a realist.
I'm a realist. Like Luke, we're without Steven Adams and Brandon Clark. Like,
dude, how valuable would Brandon Clark be?
Like, how hurts a lot. Like, this isn't the Memphis Grizzlies. Like, this isn't the team that like we all thought would be here right now. Like, but I still think this team is very good and very capable of winning games. But like when you're shorthanded and Desmond Bane is playing the way he's playing, and Tyus Jones, who's been great all season, is in a slump, and Josh is now getting back from a hand injury, like, come on. Like we just don't have the firepower right now unless we manufacture. We need a Kennard 7-3 game. We need like a Bane 6-3 game, something. We need someone to step up and make shots. And other than Ja, because Ja and Jaren are probably going to get their points. They're probably going to show up tomorrow night. But we need someone else to step up and make shots, period.
Yep.
The Lakers have had those guys, whether it's Hachimura or Reeves. They still haven't gotten Malik Beasley going yet, really. Like, that could still happen at any point. D'Angelo Russell had a good game 1. Like, we need to have someone on our team. Xavier Tillman did it in game 2, but we had nothing in game 3. We need someone to step up, period.
I think that's a good point, Eric. I think that definitely will happen. Like, someone unexpected will show up for the Grizzlies and have a great game. I think, like, we've gotten kind of like – how many first quarters did we see where we just came out there and, like, we were the ones who were doing the blitzing of the other team in the first quarter and then kind of letting our foot off the gas after that and then losing in the fourth? So I think we're definitely capable of coming out fast, and I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow. One thing I'd like to see is like kind of throughout his career, Ja has kind of been, I think, more passive in the beginning of games, trying to get his teammates going, and then getting his own offense in like starting in the second half, kind of. So I'd like to see maybe if he's not, if he's willing to be aggressive earlier in the game, if it's not really going Memphis's way, because he's definitely our most talented offensive player. And if it starts going like it did yesterday, we're going to need him bad to keep us within like reach. So
yeah, like if Ja just can be that aggressive in the first quarter, like when he gets going like that, they can't stop him.
Yeah.
Like without fouling. Like if we can just get him engaged early on and go on a little run and get up like 20-12 or something and just get them on their heels early on, that would be huge.
Yeah.
Grizzlies play game 4 tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. I'm sure we will all be tuned in, watching, hoping for the best outcome. Yeah, hopefully the Grizzlies can tie this up and send it back to Memphis with 2-2. So we'll hope for the best. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to add?
I think I'm good.
Cool. All right. Well, we will be back probably with game 4 recap or game 5 preview, something. But yeah, it's been fun, and yeah, we'll see y'all after game 4. Peace.